Hi everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for coming and listening to my presentation. My name is Karen. A little bit about me. I recently just graduated from Yale and I studied computer science and art history. In the summer, I had the really wonderful opportunity to work with the digital.gov team, which is under the General Services Administration and TTS. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about my project for the summer, which was developing a job board for the digital.gov website. So for a little bit of context, and if you have never visited digital.gov before, digital.gov is a website that helps government communities provide better digital services. They essentially serve as a central hub for best digital practices, and they publish blogs, guides, and resources. And they also foster communities where people can discuss tech-forward subjects. So my job board project surrounded in particular the communities of practice that are fostered on digital.gov, which I'll talk a little bit about when scoping the problem that I was faced with this job board. We host 8 communities of practice, which you can see over here on the right. They are essentially large emailing lists where people use a space to post conversations and ask questions about these specific topics. So for example, like communication, user experience, and social media. And it's a really wonderful space to gather all this information. And it just so happened that people also use these emailing lists to post job posts. It just so happens that for all 8 of the communities of practice, the second most frequent email subject is a job listing. But what can be sort of difficult with this email list format is that there's no structure or filter to manage these types of conversations. So oftentimes when there's a lot of conversation going on, it's really wonderful, but it also leads to what some people consider email spam. So for example, on this screenshot down here, this is someone who's trying to promote a job as a communications manager, but across 4 different communities of practice, which is great for those who are trying to find a job, but can also be rather difficult for people who are not looking for a job and they might see this stuff as spam. Another part of this problem is looking at where these job postings are hosted on, which is USA Jobs. I don't know if anyone here has been on USA Jobs, but if you have, you probably know that it is pretty difficult to find federal positions on here with specificity in your search queries. So for example, this is a couple of weeks ago, I was looking for a content strategist role on USA Jobs, and I searched it up in the keywords and I got no jobs in all of USA Jobs. But on the same day, someone on one of the communities of practice forums or email lists sent in this content strategist role. So there is a bit of disconnect between the USA Jobs platform and the jobs that it hosts. So that's why a lot of people use the community of practice emailing lists. And on other websites that don't have these emailing lists, they create job boards. So for example, here is the Department of Health and Human Services, and they've created these job boards to sort of navigate these postings and provide more specific job postings to their agency. So given these sort of 2 topics, this prompted the digital.gov team to sort of kill 2 birds with 1 stone and ask ourselves, how do we reduce repetitive emails in our communities of practice listservs while also creating a product that also really benefits job seekers? So that's where the job board comes in. The process started off with thinking about the user needs. So we had I was thinking about this project and 3 sort of users came up in the process. First would be the people already using it, the communities of practice listserv members. Then another user would also be the public who would be looking at this job board. And lastly, it would be the people who are managing the job board in the background, the content managers. These people would these people on our team already are on these communities of practice listservs and sort of engaging with the community and making sure that they're functioning smoothly. So with these user needs, I then jumped into my general requirements, my technical requirements. I knew that to fulfill the user needs, I would have to consider what methods should we use to submit job postings. We would also need to develop some sort of database to manage and store job postings. So there's sort of like a back-end component to this project. And lastly, I also needed to consider what the public page on our digital.gov website needed to look like for this community job board. How would people be able to read a lot of information and gather what they need out of it? So this was the process. The process was a lot of trial and error. It took the majority of the summer. Throughout this project, I learned a lot about government tech, what is used and what can and can't be done for security reasons. I learned a lot about our technical stack and getting creative of what we can and can't do with our technical stack. In particular, like we are trying to essentially get information from a website which involves an API, but our website doesn't really use APIs. So how can I incorporate that securely within our website was a big question at hand. So yeah, these were just some of the questions I faced throughout the summer. And the solution, ultimately, I did create a job board, but the sort of management system behind it was sort of where this creativity kind of flowed. And we created sort of a content management system for the background, for the people managing the job board. So this is sort of a workflow of what we developed with managing the job board. When an email is posted on one of our communities of practice job boards, or sorry, emailing lists, content managers can take that link and put it into a Google spreadsheet where Google Spreadsheet is really wonderful because it has scripting capabilities and automation capabilities. So this allowed us to sort of manage duplicate links or like links that may have been like not put in correctly. Content managers can then also mark off what communities of practice these jobs are related to. And then we can run a script in the background to call this API and essentially format a file over here on the right that pulls information from each URL about the job. So for example, the title, the department, a description of the job from the official job posting and stuff of that sort. That is helpful for a job seeker to look at. Let me, oh, next page. Okay. This is sort of an example of what the job board looks like now. It's really funny. During this call, it actually became live on our website, which was super exciting. But this is sort of an example demo of what our job board would look like. There are these communities of practice tags, so people can look at what this job posting may be affiliated with. You can look at the official USA Jobs post with each posting. And it's really great because there's also some automation features that automatically maintain the job board while it's live. So if a job posting expires, then it won't show up on the website. And this is really helpful. So we don't have to constantly be maintaining the job board. It can sort of be as up to date as possible without the hand of someone adding and removing jobs manually. Yeah, so that is the job board. Okay, and the impact of this project, there are a few items on this slide. One of them is, the most obvious one is that we're opening job postings to public users, which oftentimes a lot of these jobs that people are advertising on communities of practice are meant for the public. It just so happens that they're posting it on these specific emailing lists. So being able to open these job postings to the public rather than just these people on the mailing list is really helpful. We're hoping that this increases the use of our website as a central resource for people in the federal government. This project also aimed to minimize the tedious process of managing a job board for content managers. They already handle a lot of things, so we didn't want to add too much to their plate. So a lot of the automation features were developed and built with the content managers in mind. And once we remove and redirect the job postings from our communities of practice, we aim to reduce emailing traffic from each listserv by about 25%, which will also lead to a greater satisfaction with signing up and engaging with our listservs, and hopefully also increasing member retention rates. What's next in this last few days of my fellowship is I'm going to be wrapping up some documentation on the job board process, both on the technical and non-technical end, so people can maintain it once I step out of this role. I'll also create like a video guide for people to help manage this job board, and I'll also address future improvements to the job board, like filtering capabilities and further automation with our job board. So thank you so much for listening. Special thanks to the digital.gov team for being a really wonderful sounding board throughout this summer and helping me grow as an engineer. And yeah, it's been a really wonderful experience. So thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But yeah, that's the job board. We'll also stop sharing as well. Thank you, Daniela.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
What was your favorite part of your project this summer?
Ooh, good question. I think it was, and I think this was part of my team being so supportive, trying out so many different iterations of the job board. Um, I think on the slides and presenting it seems like a pretty straightforward product, but in the background, there was a lot of trial and error. I probably went through like 5 or 6 different types of job boards just to figure out what type of technical implementation would be effective with our team and our content managers, and what would be secure on our website, and what would sort of minimize the headache of managing a job board that can be so useful to so many other people. So I think going through that process and getting more excited about learning new things and not being deterred by the project was honestly a pretty fun part of the experience, and I learned a lot throughout it. So that was really fun.
Super cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Daniela. Amy, that yeah, you can start using the job board now. um, yeah.
I'll also ask a question. And because earlier you were talking about how there's like security restrictions, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. I can't imagine all of the things that you used to go through with like transferring data from places. So I guess what was what was like your workarounds for that, and how did you like, keep things secure while still getting what you wanted to get done?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking, Amy. I think the biggest part was that I learned a lot about this stack that our website was hosted on. And while it's beneficial in a lot of ways, one thing that it doesn't really do is sort of have like a database where you can process API information. So an API, you have to request information and sometimes you need like a key or an authorization key to ensure that you are like who you say you are. And our website just doesn't really have that capability. So I went through a lot of different workarounds to see like what could and could not work. And what ended up being pretty successful was running it in a script within our Google Sheets. So instead of having to run our API on our website, we actually run it like within our own team, and we're able to get that information and still effectively publish the information we need without exposing any sensitive security keys on our website. So yeah, a lot of thinking, and ultimately it was great that it worked out and we had capabilities within Google Sheets to do that.
I'll pop in with a question. First, I want to acknowledge you, Karen, and Tyson and Liam, who I also see on the call. You all did a great job with all of your projects, and Karen, yours is being highlighted. We only have a couple of days left. What would make you feel complete about this fellowship?
Oh my gosh, what a big question, Amy. I think in the 30 seconds I have left, I think I've talked to so many wonderful people throughout the summer, and I've done a lot of great and new things with my time at digital.gov. I think just saying thank you to everyone on the team and sort of re-reviewing all the things that I'm handing off to my team and making sure that I can leave my work in the best state as possible, so that it can continue on is something that I really want to focus on, and just acknowledge all the wonderful mentors and supervisors I've had on my team. So I'm excited to say thank you to everyone. But thank you to you all for joining this presentation. I really appreciate it.